to Marriage Minutes at His Pace, special edition.
Unfiltered.
With the kid.
The kid.
So, I don't know where she gets all this from.
Right.
So today we are going to just talk about your feelings and what is going on in the world and what you think about it as a young person.
And so one of the things as on top of COVID-19, just the challenges that are facing African Americans across this country as people are protesting the death of Mr. Floyd, and with the different communities across the country protesting, and then there's looting and rioting going on, and it's a different place than when I grew up and when Rhonda grew up. And so there's a dig somewhere. There's a dig somewhere. But we just wanted to talk and come together and talk because I think if nothing else, and I know I hurt for my daughter in terms of how this country is presenting itself. And so we just wanted to come together and just have dialogue. And so
Aaron, how do you feel about being first stuck in the house for 4 months? How many days is it you've been counting?
91 days and counting.
How do you feel? What do you feel about that? And just in general first.
Well, I have been going a little crazy. It's just a different environment, like after a while, you just get like, oh, there is nothing else in this house to do. Like, I know there's still a lot that we can do, but it's like once you explore everywhere, there's like nowhere else to go. So like we go out every now and then, like get groceries or just to drive, but we're still stuck. So yeah.
And compare that to how busy you were before COVID and what the differences are.
Usually when I would get home from school, I get home at like 4:15. Then I'd have like 10 minutes to eat and put my swimsuit on, and then I'd be out the door to go back to practice. So, and then I'd get home at like 9. So, it's very different because, number one, my sleep schedule is messed up. I'm going to sleep at like 12 instead of going to sleep at 10.
1 or 2.
12.
After her parents.
12. And 2, I keep forgetting what day it is. So, yeah, it's very different. Like, while we had, like, something else to rely on, your internal clock keeps, like, straight, But now, since we don't have anything else to do, it's just kind of...
And how are you experiencing, like, your friends? How are you keeping in contact with them or not?
See... with my school friends, like, I haven't, like, at the beginning of this, I used to, like, FaceTime them almost every day for schoolwork. But now that we're out of school, it's kind of, like, it's died down a little bit. Like, I don't talk to them as much. I'll call, like, some friends that I'm okay with talking with. But, like, other than that.
What about your swim friends or your friends from when you were little?
My swim friends, we've done a couple Zooms together, and those have been fun. We play, like, Crazy 8s over the phone and stuff. But friends from when I was younger, what do you mean?
Just you talk to one of your friends in particular quite often.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been kind of tough, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what about now that we're still in the midst of COVID and maybe your parents are not allowing you to do some of the things that maybe you see some of your friends doing? How does that make you feel?
Well,
yeah, we're still pretty much on lockdown, and a lot of people have come back together and are kind of hanging out in smaller groups or larger groups, and that's just not something as a family that we decided to do. How does that make you feel? Other than being tired of it.
So with my friends, like, they'll post on their stories with, like, other friends and stuff, and, like, I'm not, like, jealous of them. I'm just, like, one, worried for their safety because people are crazy in the world nowadays. And 2, it's just like, oh, you guys are out there, have fun. But it's like, fear of missing out, even though you're saving yourself from anything else that you're risking.
And I think no matter how much we try to communicate with Aaron about safety first and things of that nature, I think Rhonda and I have both come to the conclusion that it is difficult and that it is pretty rough. And so I know within the confines of the house, we've kind of relaxed a lot of the rules that were previously in place. Uh, just that, because normal is no more. Normal is out the door. And so, um, I'll go to work because I'm still essential. So I'll go to work and
You are always essential.
oh, 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 oh. Really? Is that right? Okay. So her talking to her friends a little bit longer than normal, and I know it's difficult. So I always try to make sure I check in with Erin to make sure that she's good, and she'll say it, but I know sometimes she's not. Uh, and it's hard because you don't know what to do. You want to relax and you want to take her places. She's went to work with me a couple of times just to get out of the house, just to break the monotony, and I know if nothing else that that's going to be a huge concern of families is because there's going to be a fallout or a residue for being in the house for an extreme long amount of time, and then you take COVID-19 and then you add just the whole race relation thing that's going in this country. How's that made you feel? Right.
It's a lot. Like it's a lot to wrap your mind around if you think about it. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we're all different, and so we all have difference of opinions. We're from different cultures. We're from different generations.
You mean
so
three of us?
No, I think just who we interact with in the world, and so our opinions are going to end up being different. Go ahead, sweetie.
It's just you have to find one movement that you can get behind, and then like you can support from the shadows if you're not willing to go on the streets and protest. So it's like find something to get behind, and then see if there's any other ways that you can help that organization from the shadows, like without risking your health.
I like that's what you said, because I think that's one of the reasons why we're all for marching, we're all for protesting, but personally, I still feel like people are still doing it in a very unsafe way. I see some people with masks on, but many people don't. And something that gets me the most is people take down their mask and they start spitting when they talk. Well, you spit anytime you talk. Sorry, right? So I'm just concerned. I'm concerned for her. She has a condition that might be impacted by it. I just don't want to put my baby at risk. You were gonna say something, Mark?
And I think that's one of the things. I think you want to support the movement. You want to get out and you want to be active. But I think and having dialogue with Rhonda, we just kind of learned that there's different ways that we could be active. I remember in previous instances where we have marched, we have been outspoken about things, but I know now, honestly, my first priority is to take care of my family. And so, I wish there have been some peaceful protests, but I think as much as I want to be out there, I still have to remember that COVID-19 is hanging out looking for people.
It's still protesting.
And so but I have found different ways that we can support, and that's the thing about protesting. Yeah, we can protest, but what's going to be the end result? Let's find organizations that are carrying the torch beyond the protest. And so, like I found eight can't wait, in which they're attacking police reform. Yeah, eight. And then there's other organizations that are doing things that are trying to be proactive, and so that's kind of how we're going to support the movement for right now. I mean, COVID-19 has us on lockdown, and so but I think as a family, with our emotions being oversaturated with COVID-19 and then with the race relations, it's important for family to have good, honest dialogue and to find out where everybody is, and even, Erin, and we may not talk about it in its entirety, but her having a voice, and being able to utilize her different outlets and social media to express herself and to be okay with that, you know, and we don't want to squash that, because I think if nothing else, this generation has something that previous generations haven't had, you know, and so I heard a gentleman on the radio say that it's the younger generation that's going to really catapult us to reform and to change, you know, and there's something different about this movement than times past. I mean, people are still protesting, people are still marching, people are still seeking change, you know, and so if nothing else, it's going to take place in November, but it may take place even before November.
Yeah.
Right.
Any final words? I think for us, you do. I think for us, we know that eventually we are going to have to go back out there. We're going to have to make some faith moves, but we're going to do it at our own pace. And we're going to do it when our family feels like it's important for us to do it, and not because we are moved because or intimidated or tempted or moved by someone else. And I think that most importantly, we got to pray about it. We got to continue to be diligent as a family to seek God's face about what he wants us to do for every situation.
You know, the crazy thing is people are looking at this and they're probably trying to figure out who she looks like.
She looks like her mom. All right. Okay, let's
Comment
end it.
down
Way too
below.
long.
Right,
We love
right,
you.
right.
We love you and love your family at his pace.
Be well and be blessed. She looks like me. Go ahead
No.
and say it. Yes.